What's up, guys? Welcome to the Coach Fits podcast, where we simplify exercise and nutrition so you can get leaner, stronger, and become more energized. I'm your host, Brian Fitzsimmons. Let's get it started. All right, let's get it started. Today, we're going to be talking about the best way to burn belly fat, part 2. If you haven't already, go ahead and check out part 1 from last week. It sets the groundwork. It really sets the foundation for doing it right. So I know this is like the big one. This is the fat loss phase that everybody's interested in, but highly recommend going back to check out part 1 to set yourself up for success. In this one, we're going to talk about how to burn stubborn belly fat the right way and what you could do if you hit any plateaus. But before that, we got to do our intro. Okay. Because I know, like, I listen to some podcasts and yeah, fitness information is great and everything, but it really makes the show better when the hosts talk a little bit about their lives or stuff going on in the world and like how they feel about it. Now, I'll never get political or something, so I'll stick to what I know, which is movies and TV shows and some sports stuff. So I guess in the time that since I've filmed the last one, actually, no, I just think I forgot to mention it. For anybody that doesn't know, I'm a big Cowboys fan, a big Dallas Cowboy football fan, and they lost, and that was devastating. I really, really thought this was probably our best shot at doing anything significant in the playoffs, potentially winning a Super Bowl, but they had other plans that included 14 freaking penalties that basically shot us in the foot, along with Dak Prescott's amazing time management skills to run the ball with only 3 seconds of a running clock left by the time he hit the ground. So pretty much just sealed the deal right there. But yeah, I'll cut it off there. I don't want to start off too negative, but the Cowboys broke my heart. And yeah, if you guys can't tell, right now I'm a little bundled up. I got the long sleeve shirt. I got the pullover. I was going to put the sweatshirt on, but gray against white for anybody watching the video just doesn't look good. So I'm toughing it out. The cold has been a gigantic pain in the ass all week. Can't even do, like, for my in-person clients, we always start with a walk just to get the heart rate up, get the body loose and everything. And we hadn't been able to do that for the past, like, the later half of the week. Right now it's Saturday. This goes out on Monday. So the previous week, just can't even get outside because when it's 10 degrees in Jersey and the wind makes it feel worse. It's just, you can't do it. So yeah, not fun. And on top of that, as I'm filming in my girlfriend's apartment right now, the heat went out, and yeah, I think they said it's due to something like a pipe freezing or something like that. So not ideal. The cold is really biting us in the butt, but luckily we have movies, TV shows to keep the spirits up. So we actually just, like, an hour or two ago, just finally finished up watching Icarus, the documentary about the Russian Olympic doping scandal, the state-sponsored Olympic doping scandal. Very, very interesting. Finished it. I started it a week or two back, and I just haven't really devoted enough time, but finally got to wrap it all up, and it's crazy. It's absolutely nuts that Russia got away with all that. And yeah, I mean, even though in the recent Olympics they couldn't go under the Russian flag, it was like the Russian Olympic Committee or something. But as all this stuff came to surface, it was like days before the Rio Olympics, and they still let them compete in Rio, knowing they were doped up. So very, very concerning that the IOC, like the International Olympic Committee, really cares mostly about money rather than integrity. So just a little something to get us through to the next Olympics. Just assume that if Russia can get away with this, then so can everybody else. So yeah, if you see somebody get popped for doping, at least myself, I'm going to think, all right, well, they were dumb enough to get caught because everybody else is doing it. Really puts a big damper on the whole thing. But anyway, there's still drugs or no drugs. These people would still be top at, like, most elite in the world. regardless. And other than Icarus, keeping up with Peacemaker and Boba Fett, both episodes this week were awesome. Not gonna do any spoilers here or anything, but Peacemaker is a I don't know what to call it. I wasn't expecting much, but it just keeps getting better and better. Like John Cena is awesome, and so is the whole supporting cast. So only good things to say about that. And in fitness weight loss related news, my mom just hit 14 pounds down. And for those of you that don't know, it was in the Facebook group and got a whole lot of love, which was awesome to see. Thank you for everybody that gave her a clap and applauded her and said great job, because it did mean a lot to her and I know it did. And she deserves a lot of credit because she's been on this weight loss journey since I think when she really took it serious, it was probably about last September, October. And she's just been making small changes here and there. And she's been able to do it with relative ease. Like, we're still going to family parties. She's still going out to lunch with friends. And because I educated her on how to count calories and how to do simple things so that you're not hungry all the time and in positions to make bad decisions, it really just adds up over time. That's the way to do it. And it's the healthier way to do it. So yeah. Um, let's see. Please excuse any noises that might come across, like it might get caught by the mic. The fan for the heat is working, but the heat is not being produced. So you might hear the fan. All right, let's dive into the best way to burn belly fat. We're going to start with, or before I do that, we got 3 things, 3 steps to take, 3 topics that are going to tell you everything you need to know when it comes to burning belly fat, or any fat for that matter. First and foremost, go to your doctor. Make sure that there is nothing working against you before you start the process. So, how terrible would it feel if you go on a 3-4 months of a calorie deficit, you work your butt off, you do these workouts, and then you go for your annual checkup and your doctor's like, oh yeah, you had this condition that made it a whole lot harder, when you could have just gone 4 months ago and gotten better results. So make sure that you don't have any conditions holding you back. Make sure that the medications that you're on are not making it harder than it has to be, because a big thing when it comes to fat loss in general is managing expectations. So if you're on some medication that's making it so much harder to burn fat and to lose weight, and you're listening to this podcast or other people saying yeah, expect half a pound to 2 pounds per week, but then this medication is getting in the way, that advice could be pretty much pointless for you. And you might need to go with a longer term approach, which is okay. It's just what your body is giving you, but managing expectations and not putting numbers in your head that are just going to defeat you, make you feel defeated week after week after week, is a very, very big part. So go to the doc, get everything checked, make sure you're good to go, and then we're off. Which brings us to number 2, which is setting up your calorie deficit. Now, this is for, when I say the calorie deficit, this is for people that have not come off of a diet. If you've been dieting forever and you're always in a calorie deficit and you're always just yo-yo dieting, this probably won't give you an accurate number, and it's probably going to be a lot lower, in which case I'd say you're better off doing a reverse diet first. Get those calories up to a point where if you cut them, you don't feel terrible. You're not stuck in the 1,200 calorie club just to see a little bit of results. So if you're starting this fresh, you haven't been watching your calories, you haven't been starving yourself and not having success, this is how you do it. So we're coming off the holidays. You've been eating a lot. Now it's time to dial it in. First thing you want to do is get the number. Either you could do a really simple calculation, which is to take your goal weight. So whatever weight that you want to get to. So for me, I want to go from, right now, this morning, the scale said 214. So I want to get to 200. That's my goal for right now. I would take that goal weight and multiply it, that 200 pounds, and multiply it by 10 to 12. So that would be anywhere from, oh God, mental math, 2000 calories to 2400 calories. So how do you decide 10 to 12? Well, if you're very sedentary and you're not doing a whole lot of exercise, go towards the 10. But if you're active, if you walk a lot, if you have a job that's on your feet, if you're already hitting the gym 3, 4, 5 times a week, go for the 12. Or if you want to just take all of your potential calculation errors out of the equation, you could just look up the TDEE calculator. That's T as in toy, D as in dog, E as in energy, E as in energy again, calculator. I'll put the link in the show notes so that you could just click it and go. You enter in your basic info, name or not name, your age, your height, your weight, your body fat, if you have access to like anything like that, and it spits out a number for you, and it'll give you numbers on what to aim for. So that's an easy way to do it. And then you stick to it. You go through the process that is weight loss. And that is not just, so again, back to managing expectations. It's not going to be a straight line to your goal weight. It's not going to be, you're going to hop up on the scale. And like for me, it's not, oh, I'm 214 today. Awesome. Then a couple of days later, oh, I'm 213. Awesome. And then the next day I'm 212. This is incredible. No, it does not go that way. It's all right. I hop on the scale today. I was 214. Nice. Hop on the scale tomorrow. Oh, it's 215. Well, shit happens. My body's in fluctuating weight up and down. Like it happens. Next day, 213.8. Awesome. I'm back down. And it just does that over and over again. You go up, you go down, you go up, you go down. But if you plot it all down, like if you have some way to record it, like with my clients, we do it on an app that shows you a graph. And when you see all the plot points, it's like it goes up and down, but the trend goes down. So you see, like for anybody watching on video, imagine for all of you listening in, I'm going to put my hand in the top left corner of the screen, and those weights are going to go up and down, up and down. And notice my hand, even though the weight's going up and down, the trend, my hand is going down towards the bottom right hand of the screen. And that's the way it usually goes. The like linear fat loss or weight loss is a myth. It's unless you were that type of person that only weighs in like once every month or two, then you'll just see a gigantic drop. So for some people, if that's what you want to see, then do that. Only measure yourself like once a month or I would recommend once every 8 weeks, because even a month, like if you only lost half a pound every single week, which is still very, very good. It's still progress. And like, it's a way to do it. If you were to lose that half a pound and you hop back on the scale, it might show after a month of work that you're exactly the same weight or even higher, just because your body is fluctuating more times than not between 3 to 5 or even higher, like 3 to 5 pounds or more, depending on how big you are, because the bigger you are, the more fluctuating or the more your body fluctuates that weight. So for me, say, like I'll use the 200 pounds because it's a lot easier on the math. So if I weighed in the beginning of the month at 200 pounds, it's very possible that I can make it to the end of the month, weigh in again, and it could show 201 or 202 pounds, even though I could have lost 2, 3, 4 pounds of fat. Because for one, it could just be some weird fluctuation in my body where water's moving around. Maybe I had a high salt meal the night before. Maybe I still have to drop a number 2. Sorry, but it's true. Maybe I had a really hard workout the day before. If I had bad sleep, when you have bad sleep, you retain more water. So it's very possible that stuff can happen. But under the surface, I could have lost weight. Or what happens a lot of times, that people who started a fitness journey that are starting from square one, or they haven't worked out in a while, they'll put on muscle really fast to the point where it negates the scale, or it puts the scale at a balance. So for back to me again, start of the month, I'm at 200 pounds. End of the month, I'm still at 200 pounds. Most people would be like, what the hell? But then I throw on a t-shirt and all of a sudden it fits looser. And it's like, oh, that's a sign that you burned a lot of fat and built muscle at the exact same rate, which is ideal. That's what you want to do, because eventually that fat loss, or sorry, that muscle gain is going to cap out and slow down or just like maintain. And then everything you're losing past that point is pure fat. And that's where you start seeing the scale go down. So if you're maintaining that muscle mass and you're still losing weight, that is all fat falling off, which is what we want. Because when people lose weight and they only focus on the weight, sometimes that could sacrifice muscle mass, bone mineral density, and it can impact that, which we don't want, because that stuff burns up a lot of calories. When you have more muscle, your body burns more calories to maintain that muscle. So it makes fat loss a lot easier. So go aim for more muscle. More muscle is a good thing. And let's say you are that person that is just, it's a plateau. It's like and to define a plateau, that's not 1 or 2 weeks of not seeing progress, because that is totally normal. It happens all the time. Sometimes our bodies just stop and then they get ready for like this technical term that you guys have heard me say in the past. It's called a whoosh. Sometimes your body just like is moving stuff around and your body weight doesn't move at all. And then one day, bang, like 2 pounds or 3 pounds just fall off. And you're like, oh, wow. So sometimes that can happen. Not saying it happens for everybody. So don't expect the whoosh, but let's say you're stagnant and your weight hasn't moved, your inches haven't. That's the other thing. Compare inches too, because if you have body measurements to go off of, then you can figure out if you're losing fat or not, even though your weight is staying the same. So let's say the weight is the same, the measurements haven't budged. Okay. And that has been happening for 3, 4, 5 weeks, because that's how you need to go about a plateau. Is really like a month is like how you really know it's a plateau and it's not just your body doing its thing. Then there's a couple things that you can do. First, obvious one is decreasing calories. Now, that's assuming you can decrease calories without any negative effects, because what happens a lot of times is people go past their BMR, which is their basal metabolic rate. And that is the amount of calories that you need to survive throughout the day, not including your activity. So imagine like you just got knocked out and you laid in bed for the day for 24 hours. That's how many calories you would burn just doing nothing, laying in bed and being asleep. Now, on top of that, you got to support your activity throughout the day. So you got to support all the steps that you take, the workouts that you do, the tapping your foot at your desk, the blinking, your organs doing all of their, or not your organs, that would fall under BMR, but the extra activity, like the moving your fingers, like raising your hand, all that stuff needs calories. And when you go underneath that BMR, like when you start getting close to the BMR for an extended period of time, you can have those negative health effects. It leads to terrible workouts. It slows down your metabolism more than it should. It takes longer to recover with that reverse diet. So if you're pushing those calories lower and lower, that's extra weeks that it's going to take to add on those calories once you're done, because fat loss phase is just part of the equation. You need that recovery, that reverse diet afterwards, which we're going to talk about in the next installment of how to burn belly fat, because you don't want to be that person that loses all this weight, puts in a ton of hard work, and then gains it back after a month or two, because that is a terrible feeling. I've been there and I wish that on nobody, because it just rips your heart out. But anyway, we'll get into that in the next installment. But back to the troubleshooting. So let's say you're as low as you can get on calories. That doesn't mean all hope is lost. There are other things that you can do. So say you're at that point where you just can't drop them any lower. One of the easiest things to do is to add a workout. So let's say you're doing 3 workouts a week and you're crushing it, doing well, and you feel like you have a little bit more to give, like you still have the energy to do another workout, then up it to 4. So, and then if you're doing 4, maybe throw in a 5th workout that's not that taxing on your body, like from a fatigue standpoint. So what I mean by that is, let's say those 3 or 4 days that you're in the gym, you're doing heavy compound lifts, like you're doing your squats, you're doing your push-ups, you're doing your rows and deadlifts and all that. That does tax the body, especially when you're in a caloric deficit. So going in and doing a day where you do like arms or shoulders or ab work, the stuff that burns like crazy, but you leave the gym feeling pretty fresh. So like you get the muscle burn, but you don't get that like feeling like you're ready to fall asleep. Or, and especially with the low calories, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So adding in an extra day of like a fluff session is what we'll call it. Now, not saying fluff like a bad thing. I'm saying like getting that pump, like filling your muscles up, feeling really good and tight and toned, and then going home feeling better than when you got into the gym, which you should be doing every day, but it's a different feeling. Or doing like a trigger workout. So for people that don't know what trigger workouts are, it's like, you can call it a recovery session, but it's a little bit harder than stretching and doing mobility work. It's doing things like those uh, fluff workouts where you're doing your bicep curls, your tricep, the shoulder stuff, but you're doing it with like a band or some really light weights, or you could even do it with body weights until you feel just a little bit of a burn, but we're not pushing past that. It's like just enough to get some blood in the muscle, but not create any fatigue whatsoever. So it is great for recovery, and it burns calories like more so than if you were just standing there and laying in bed and watching Netflix. So it could help a lot, especially doing it week after week after week. And the last thing you could do is adding more steps, because steps are the most underrated form of fat loss there is. When you add in those extra steps, it makes a world of difference. Oh, no ads. I was pulling up something, so I have some numbers to back this up. But adding in steps and just walking in general, amazing for like if you sit at a desk, it can really loosen up your hips. It can really loosen up your back and get you moving and really just make you feel better in general. If you do it after eating like a meal, it can help speed up digestion. It can help a lot of different things. But when it comes to the calorie burning, it can burn a lot of calories. Now, this is according to Harvard Health Publishing, and they estimate they estimate that based on 3 different weights, you can burn more or less calories. So when you're doing your steps, the bigger you are, the more calories that you burn. So to give you an idea of what it looks like, if according to Harvard Health, if you weigh 125 pounds, you'll burn approximately 68 calories for 2,000 steps. So this is all for 2,000 steps. If um if you're walking at a 3.5 mile per hour pace for, or no, sorry, let me go back. Sorry, this is for 1 mile. 1 mile. So let me look that up. How many steps is 1 mile? How many steps in a mile? Oh, 2,000. Okay, that makes sense. All right, so we're back to the 2,000. So for every 2,000 steps, if you weigh 125 pounds, you burn about 68 calories in that time. And at the same pace, doing that 2,000 steps for somebody who's 155 pounds, that would be 84 calories. And then for somebody who weighs 185 pounds, that'd be about 99 calories. Now, you see these small numbers, like relatively small numbers when it comes to calories, and you're like, that's it. Well, to put it in perspective, let me break out the calculator here. Okay, a pound of fat, this isn't a precise science, but a pound of fat is roughly about 3,500 calories. So let's say that we're trying to create that deficit by taking away 500 calories a day for 7 days. That's 3,500 calories. That's where the math comes from. Now, say we're not getting quite there. We're burning about, we'll say like 2,500 calories. Okay. So there's 1,000 calories lost there. Now, if we're burning that extra about 100 calories for these extra 2,000 steps, every day, that's 700 calories. That's basically almost there. So if you push it to like 2,500 or 3,000 steps, you have covered that deficit now and you're there for just doing an extra 3,000 steps. So this stuff can make a very, very big difference and keep you on track and help you reach your goals. So, yeah. um, that's pretty much every way to troubleshoot it. And I'm sure like this is my second or third time doing this version of this, and I will come up with more ways and helpful information uh and as we go. Now, that's like the nitty gritty of it all. The really big thing I want to, like, numbers aside, is the big thing I want to really focus on is human behavior and how we can improve our behavior to support this fat loss goal, because the numbers are only just part of it. Like when you tell somebody, "Oh, eat this many calories," and they're like, "Okay," and they come back defeated because they had nothing to help them get there, like that's a like for if I did that, I'd consider myself a poor coach. It really comes down to getting yourself like creating habits and creating behaviors that will help make this a whole lot easier. So some of the top things that I've noticed that help people a lot is one, volume eating. So let's say you are on that side of really low calories, like you've hit that point, and this could be from the start of your journey. Even if you have high calories, it's just I'm painting the picture here. Let's say you're that person that can't get away with that many calories, and you're getting really close to that BMR. Like choosing foods that you can eat a lot of that don't have a lot of calories can be insanely helpful. So when I like the what a lot of people think of when I say volume foods are like salads and stuff like that. Those are great, but there's also things like watermelon. Now, if you ever hear anybody say that fruit is going to make fat loss harder or like all the sugar is bad, just stop listening to those people. Fruit is insanely helpful when it comes to trying to lose weight because yes, even though it does have sugar, it is packed with fiber, especially if there's skin on it. So things like watermelon, I know it doesn't have skin, but it's just like mostly water. So you can pound a bunch of it. Berries are one of the highest fiber fruits that you can have. And they just like completely fill you up and you don't have a whole lot of calories after the fact. Apples, which are a personal favorite of mine, just I'm basic. So apples help, even bananas, oranges. The only thing I would say when it comes to fruit is don't go for the dried fruit because you're losing all that water, which will take up space in your belly. And when your stomach is not sufficiently full and this food is not pressing on the walls of your stomach, it's not going to send that signal to your brain that you're full. So you want to fill it up. Um, and then on top of that, a lot of the dried fruit has added sugar to help it taste better. So, I mean, even though it's freaking delicious, I'm not knocking it because it's insanely tasty and very helpful for gaining weight. But when it comes to the goal of losing weight, not necessarily that helpful. Another thing when it comes to food choices is edging on the side of lean protein. When I say lean protein, I am not talking about peanut butter. I am talking about things like lean cuts of meat, protein shakes, protein bars that are not super high in calories. Once you have your volume eating down, you have your protein down, other things to consider other than food, I would say these come before that. These are like in those foundational habits is number one, the big one is getting enough sleep because when you don't sleep enough, it actually makes you hungrier throughout the day and makes it even easier to make bad decisions when it comes to food choices, and it just makes the whole process harder. And on top of that, you're low energy, which leads to terrible workouts. So you're not burning as many calories during your workout because you're not putting in as much work because you physically can't. So getting that sleep down. Oh, and sorry, it's all flooding into my head. And on top of that, it supports hormonal balance. So if you're not getting enough sleep and your hormones are all out of whack, that could also put your body in an environment that is not necessarily that helpful for burning fat. Now, that's a case where if you get shit sleep and you still lose weight, yeah, you might still lose weight, but you're going to be taking a lot more from from the lean body mass, that muscle and bone, which again, we don't want because those are big, like the muscle is a big fat burner. We want the muscle. So big proponent of, or big supporter of that 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep. And if anybody is listening who is not in the Facebook group, go ahead and join it so that you can get the better sleep worksheet. Again, this is all free. I just give it out because I want you guys to be healthy and happy and get the results that you damn well deserve. So if you want that better sleep worksheet that tells you exactly how to create the right environment for the best sleep possible and includes like different items that you could purchase on Amazon to improve your quality of sleep, it is a game changer. So again, go hit that button, join the group, and get your better sleep worksheet. Yeah, so we got sleep, we got protein, we got the steps, we got the workouts, and you're pretty much, if you nail that stuff over time and you work on incorporating the habits to help it, you losing all the fat that you want to is not maybe, it's a definitely. You're going to get there. If you do all the right things, if you get all these habits down and take your time and really manage those manage those expectations, you'll get there. Okay, no doubt at all. And if you want help, if you want somebody to guide you along the way, I'm always happy to. Just launched the Fit40 program, so it is a weight loss program, a fat loss program for people over the age of 40 who want to get in great shape, not just to look better, but to feel better, to be a better mom, a better dad, a better better at work, all of the above, who keep getting beat up by these programs designed for 20-year-olds and don't want to be stuck in water aerobics next to their parents. So if you want some help with your goals, be sure to hit the link. I'll put that one in the show notes too. I hope that you guys got some value out of this. Feel free to share it with people that you think could use this information too. And I will see you for the installment number 3 of the best way to burn belly fat, which will be the reverse diet, which is the key to locking in your results, to keeping all the results that from your hard work for life. Okay, that's the part that everybody misses out on, that all these other programs just don't talk about. So very, very important episode. I'd say it's more important than this one, almost. Okay, so definitely check it out. Until then, go kick some ass, have an amazing week, and I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed it, be sure to leave a 5-star review. If you found the information helpful, go ahead and share it with somebody you think could use it too. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss an episode.